You're listening to Allegedly NYC. Allegedly.
Lord. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Lord.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Allegedly NYC. I'm Nomi Ruiz.
And I'm E07.
And we are two pissed off Puerto Rican girls.
Girl down.
We took a
girls pissed.
little time off
Yeah, very little.
to process.
Word.
To
Yeah,
figure
process and also be sensitive to our times, really. You know?
Yeah, we needed a moment of silence.
Absolutely.
Needed a moment of silence.
Yeah.
Speaking.
Let everyone speak.
Yeah.
And be alone and kind of gather their thoughts and whatnot, you know?
Yeah.
We didn't want to interrupt that process.
Well, today we're going to be speaking about the ongoing movement to end systemic racism. We're also going to touch on violence against trans women of color and colorism within Latin communities, which is, I think, a heavy topic here at Allegedly, since we're both Latinas. Oh, sorry, Latines. Whatever.
Latin.
Latinas.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Just call me.
You prefer. Just
All
call
right.
me, yeah.
Call
Well,
me for dinner.
today was the George Floyd Memorial Service and protest held in Brooklyn earlier today. Is it still going on right now? Maybe.
Well, no, it's curfew, girl. So.
Oh, right. That.
Yeah. Remember, I got stuck at your place last night.
That you did.
Which is not a terrible thing. I'm just it was a gag. It was like, oh shit.
No, yeah. You did bleed on my sheets, but that's fine.
I bled all over.
You're a woman.
I had my cycle.
All right. Well, to start this off, I wanted to. One of our correspondents was on the scene at the protest and the memorial service, and we got this exclusive footage of our future mayor, Eric Adams, Brooklyn Borough president, who made a little speech. So let's just jump into that, and we'll be right.
And then we'll talk.
And then we'll chit chat a little more after that.
There were two young boys in South Jamaica, Queens, 15 years old, in the 103rd precinct, arrested for trespassing. The police officers, while sitting down, filling out their documents, they looked at each other and said, "Do you feel like a beatdown?" They brought both of them down to the basement, and they repeatedly kicked them in their groin over and over and over again. And for 7 days, one of them know that he urinated blood until he couldn't take it anymore. The reason I respect Brother Terrence, because my brother was in the other room getting beaten, and I was in one room being beaten. So before all of that, this is not political, this is personal. This is why this fight is on right now. This didn't start in Minnesota. These changes are not taking place because all of a sudden America has a conscience. All of a sudden they are seeing on the cameras every day what has been happening for far so long in this community. That's what this is about. I still feel my brother is going through emotional issues because of that beating and the PTSD that came from it. That's why I joined the department. That's why every day I was in the police department, I knew my assignment and I knew my mission. It was about fighting every day. And seeing you out here today brought back the compassion that I heard and I thought when I yelled over and over and begged them to stop beating us. I thought it would fall on deaf ears. But God damn it, we heard it because you're here right now.
All right, that was Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams speaking today at George Floyd's memorial service and protest. He was speaking about his personal experience with police brutality, which he spoke about on our past episode too.
Yeah.
Where him and his brother were beaten in a police precinct, and he wound up actually joining the police force after that in order to
Wow.
like work from the inside out to affect change, which I thought was really powerful. And you and I were talking the other day about how we've never really felt safe, you know, walking in the streets and you see a group of cops. You don't feel like, oh my
never.
God, I feel so safe here. It's like,
No, I never felt that way. Even as a teenager, because I was like, I looked like a teenager. I never looked older than I looked. I always looked like a teenager, and cops would try to like kick it to me in the train. I always thought that was fucking weird.
so weird. It's like,
I always thought it
you're
was
supposed to
fucking weird
protect
because like
us, not
I'm
try to
like
harass us.
legit like even younger, like inappropriately younger. I would wear like my fucking uniform and shit. But like I would be with my high school friends, like on, you know, like all kids. We all look like fucking kids. There was no like disguising
Bingo.
it. And yeah, they would try to like kick it to us. I'm like, this is weird. I always thought that was really awkward and
It's inappropriate. Like
uncomfortable.
you're there probably because you're near a school and you're there to protect the teenagers.
Yeah,
and
and
you're
then they're
kicking.
trying to kick it to like a 14-year-old. It was nuts. It was always nuts, and like I've always been cautious.
You know, we forget that these are the people that we went to like junior high school with, and like they're just the guys from the neighborhood. They're not like we used to put them up on this sort of pedestal, and we're like, wait,
Right.
you're like the dumb fuck from junior high school that used to like kick it to my cousin. Like now you think you're a big shit because you got a badge. It's like,
Yeah, it's weird. It's really awkward because like let's just remember that your job is I always the job was always to protect us, but I never felt comfortable with that at all because I always felt like I always had to protect myself no matter any situation, you know?
right, and that's because that's because we are brought up in like communities of color where it
Right.
hasn't been safe for us. It hasn't been safe
No.
for our community. Hasn't been safe for our neighbors. It was never safe for my brother. It was never safe
No.
for my father. Like it just
Oh,
never.
God, no. Yeah.
They were like at the opposite end of the gangsters in my neighborhood protected me more than the police. You know what I mean? Like they
I
were
always
more on
trusted
my
the street.
side.
I always trusted the streets before I trusted anybody with a uniform.
Yeah.
Because we were always guilty before we even spoke, you know?
Girl, on site.
There's no question, I can't even question anything, you
Girl,
know?
there's still tea on a Thursday night.
Girl,
Are you ready for some tea?
When am I not ready for tea, girl?
Well, the music industry, my beloved industry that I am allegedly a part of.
Don't get me started with mine.
Yeah, that's a whole other episode.
Fashion all of a sudden cares. Don't,
Girl.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Did they
on.
all wear black? Like, so the music industry sparked this sort of day of, you know, the Tuesday they all took a day off, I guess, allegedly, and they had this whole blackout like protest.
Right. Yes.
Which at first I was like, what is this bullshit? Because they released a statement that said it was something like, you know, as the gatekeepers of culture, it's our responsibility. I'm like, gatekeepers of culture? Like, who are you talking to? Like,
Who
what
gave
do
you that
you think you are?
responsibility?
Like,
I'm not looking at Katy Perry for answers.
hello. Girl. Definitely not looking to who Hillary Duff for like guidance. No.
For her to take care of my kid. That was
Well-
like that. Remember that? No, it was. That was a little Twitter trending joke. Remember they?
Oh,
accused her
Hillary
of-
Duff. Oh, that's another episode.
Yeah. All right. Go on.
So that kind of backfired because, you know, everyone went and put their Instagram pages black
Yeah, I
to
did
show solidarity. Yeah, but then some people were putting the hashtag Black Lives Matter, which then wound up in, you know, people look up the hashtags to like see information and to like get access to other information, especially now during like times where people are protesting. So
Right.
suddenly when they looked up Black Lives Matter, it was just all blank, and they were just like basically erasing all the information that shows up in the hashtag. So they were saying, you know, you had to like delete it and then like repost it without the hashtag. It just became a whole mess. But
Too much work.
anyway, it was supposed to be hashtag the show must be paused,
Okay.
which I found out was an initiative that was launched by two black women actually, which was Jamila Thomas of Atlantic Records and Brianna
Course.
Eggman of Platoon, which
Course.
knowing that now kind of makes sense with the whole gatekeepers. If I knew they were maybe saying it from like, bitch, you've been gatekeeping this culture, you've been making money off of black people, like where are you at? I get it from that perspective, but when it first came out, we didn't know who posted it. It just was like the music industry as a whole, and I was like, who do you think you are?
Right. Well, you know what? I honestly, I don't. It's not the time for us to be quiet, even though like we did the whole black screen thing, and it was for misinformed and uninformed and all that stuff, but we were still sending out messages of. I mean, while that was happening, there was a trans woman that like got beat up during that time.
Yeah,
and
like the same day.
Yeah, same day. So there was so much shit happening
right
at that as we were doing that. Like there's no way to like shut it down when everything is so hot right now, as far as like the bullshit that's happening in the streets and like the shit that keeps on happening, what we're doing to each other at this point. Yeah. It's too hot to
handle.
Take a day, it's
right.
not even so much to handle. You have to face everything. It is. It's like we're facing shit.
Well, allegedly the industry actually took that day not to take the day off, but to actually gather with their communities, with organizations, within their own systems of within their own industry, within their own office building. So 1,500 Black members and allies from the music community took part in a series of video summits in which participants engaged in organized dialogue and generated ideas on how to effectively make change within the music industry.
It's time.
Yeah, that's a whole other. That's two episodes, part 1 and 2.
And also, it's not overnight. It's within every industry at this point, as far as creativity goes. Like to have a quota for a race. Can we talk about that?
Girl,
quota for a gender.
Girl.
That like.
Did you say gender? You said gender.
Gender.
She said gender.
Oh, you heard that? You heard that, Bronx?
Girl, that's New York shit. That's real New York shit. Wasn't there like a challenge, like New York accents? Oof. You would win.
You know what? I actually don't think I would win. There is some. This is.
Genza.
Like, Genza. Yeah, Genza.
Well, one participant said that it was emotional and inspiring. Mm. One of the women who started the movement said, George Floyd was killed on a Monday, and the following Tuesday, we all went back to work. This should not have been the case, and this is why we called for the industry to pause on Tuesday, June 2nd. The music industry is an industry that has profited predominantly from Black art. The point was never to mute ourselves. This was the day to completely disconnect from work and make a difference in our community, because we should not normalize what is happening.
No. Well, that's the sad part, because it's become part of like the bullshit of this world. Like we have become numb to violence, and now it's come to a point where it's like it's just become back to back in the last like few weeks to months, like brutal, disgusting, televised. Like there's proof of violence in front of our faces. So there's no way to go to work the next day now. Like it's brutal, like Quentin Tarantino style, like violence that is real. And there's no way to like, tomorrow I have to go food shopping. No, like this has been the most intense time, and what has been happening in the past few days with protesters, I mean, it's been out of control. There's no way to like, live in this Mary Poppins world that you've made yourself. You made a bubble of. Yeah. It's impossible.
It doesn't exist anymore now. It's been busted. It has burst.
Oh, honey, that is long gone. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to face it and see what you can do about it. And that's how we're going to move forward now.
Well, at Universal Music, a task force was created by the head of Def Jam Records, along with the chief of Motown Records. Mm-hmm. At Interscope, which is home to Lady Gaga and Billie Eilish. Okay. They put the focus on their Black employees, all 2 of them, JK, just kidding, but whatever, probably.
I'm
To gather suggestions of important initiatives and action items that would enhance company culture and the community at large. At Sony Music, there was an elaborate day of programming that included town halls and conversations with Spike Lee. Also, Scooter Braun, you remember him? He was the one who was accused by Taylor Swift of preventing her.
Selling her, like buying her all her music, right?
Like she couldn't perform her own songs.
Yeah.
That was a whole mess. I don't know how that got settled, but so he did a 75-person Zoom call featuring a talk from Patrice Cullors, who is the co-founder of Black Lives Matter. And Cullors also helped recruit artists like Lizzo, SZA, Zendaya, Kalani, Common for the massive gathering outside of the LA mayor Eric Garcetti's home.
Work.
So she's been at work, honey.
I mean, I respect that. I mean, if you're gonna use your celebrity and voice, this is your time, bitch.
Now's your time.
This is your time.
Honey.
Guess what? You have time because everything is canceled. Your tour is canceled. So you might as well fucking do something.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
no one's touring. Everyone's home. So let's just be productive.
Yeah. You can't say I'm busy.
No, bitch, I don't know you're not.
Well, what I want to know is within all these conversations in the music industry about how to restructure the music industry, how many, I want to see transcripts of all these conversations, and I want to know how many times they mentioned trans women of color.
Oh. Boop.
I would love to know if anyone out there,
because that maybe just it got into everyone's thoughts and minds and conversation maybe this week because
no, I don't even think so, because I think trans women of color, or trans women in general, and especially of color, they don't see us as artists. They don't respect us as artists. We don't exist to them.
Right.
Like, was that spoken about at these like Zoom 75-person Zoom calls featuring Spike Lee and all these people? Like, how many times, if anyone out there knows, write me, tweet me.
Because they're only thinking because in no one can handle one topic at a time. You know, they could only handle one topic at a time, and this is what's happening in our faces right now. And they're not going to think about all the other shit that's been accumulating.
Well, that's the thing, because this is a part of that topic, which is what I want to get into now. Which is,
of course, it is,
because so as we referred to, there was recently a brutal beating of a Black trans woman named Iyanna Dior. And she was beaten by a mob in Minneapolis at a Minneapolis gas station, reportedly after a fender bender. So like, they probably bumped cars and they got out to see like what the damage was and talk about it, and then they were like spooked her tea. They were just started to attack her
viciously, like to the point like I don't know how
they could have killed her. It was like maybe 30 honestly, dudes.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, she's still in the hospital, so we don't anything could happen one day to the next.
Well, no, she's back home. She's been on her Facebook doing lives, and so people have been supporting her.
Thank God.
Through Cash App. I'm gonna put up her Cash App right now. Here it is.
Yeah.
It is Naja Bad Baby. It's down here. Her people have been showing support by sending her some coins to help her recover, because who knows if she even has insurance to deal with that shit.
Oh, of course. I don't know. Who knows?
She busted her top lip. Also, a trans male named Tony McDade.
He was murdered by the police.
He was shot and killed by the police in Tallahassee, Florida. An eyewitness said the police never tried to de-escalate the situation.
Nope.
Which is another thing we need to talk about, like police training. Like how are we going to reform police training? This is part of what we're protesting for. This needs to be reformed. Like,
I don't know. I have no idea.
Because they're trained.
I don't know how that works out.
They're trained to premeditate and which means like they have to guess like, oh, maybe they're going to pull out a gun before I do. So I got to do it first. And then add to that racism, and add to that our word of the day, which is implicit bias.
Yeah, implicit bias.
Word of the day, implicit bias. Every time you hear it, grab a drink.
Do a line, whatever you want to do.
Do a line, suck a dick. Whatever your vice is.
Let me tell you something. Bill de Blasio has his budget that's supposed to be. He has a budget due shortly, and $6 billion of the budget is supposed to go to billion, not million. Billion goes to the NYPD.
Mind you, I'm still waiting for my unemployment check.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other shit. But right now, what we need to do is we need to voice our concern about the budget of New York City and how $6 million is supposed to go to NYPD when they're not equipped for their job. They're taking advantage of hours. They do overtime to make all these coins when maybe that overtime or actually part of their job outside of overtime should be training and not being racist and not like picking up people for no apparent reason. Like they're the quote like stop quotas. Like you need to that has to be restructured like nobody's fucking business right now. Girl. $6 billion should not be because someone wants to do 12 hours so they could go on vacations and whatever. It's like it's the overtime in public service is fucking crazy. Between I'm just going off. Between the firemen and cops, they consume so much overtime, and guess whose money that is? That's our tax dollars. So they're literally doing so much overtime that's what we're paying for. So I'm busting my ass so you could retire at 34. You know what I mean? Like it's insane to me. Or you can retire that early. Anyway, why isn't that money?
Well, that money needs to be definitely.
Don't even take that money, but some shit why you can't? You know what? You can't do any overtime. Actually, you know what? You have to. We're gonna do education because how come we have to as if you're a driver's licenses, any sort of license, you have to retake a test. You had to recertify yourself. Why can't the NYPD needs to fucking recertify themselves?
Prove us that you're still capable to serve and protect your public.
You're not part of the KKK,
girl. Because this what's his name? The guy that was slaughtered, Tony McDade, that was killed by him. An eyewitness said that they never even heard "get down," "freeze," or "I'm an officer." Nothing. No. They just heard gunshots.
No, well, look what happened that's with everybody, though. No one identifies himself. They're just it's becoming the wild, wild west for some fucking reason. These guys have this superiority bullshit, and it's
like a Clint Eastwood film. It's fucking Westworld. They think we're clones, and we just have no feelings, and we can be shot.
Listen, a lot of they're giving these weapons, and it brings this whole other person that literally I could call and protect, or I can call, they might kill my ass just for calling. God. So it's crazy.
Well, a trans woman named Nina Pop was stabbed to death earlier this month. Mm-hmm. And let's not forget Layla Pelaez and Serena Angelique Velasquez, who were both murdered in Puerto Rico and set on fire in Puerto Rico. No one ever mentioned that. Let's not forget.
No one mentions that.
Puerto Rico Puerto Rico is a part of the United States of America. Let's remind everyone.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico, it's a colony, but it is a part of the United States. So where's the outcry for these girls? No one's saying their names. Add it to the damn list. You know what I'm saying? What's going on here? What really needs to be understood is that trans people have to deal with being attacked by the system, first of all. That's supposed to protect them, while also fighting against their own communities. Mm-hmm. Because many of the murders that happen within Black and Latin communities is
down the block
by Black and Latin people, our own people.
Yeah.
We're being murdered by our own race, which is
it's fucked up. Yeah.
Even more painful. And now
it is painful.
We're out here fighting for them. Because when police murder people of color, it's mostly white men killing Black men.
Absolutely.
And Latin men.
Yeah.
And we're out
Honestly,
here fighting
yeah.
for your fucking rights.
Yeah. And in all honesty, you know, it's terrorism. It's just terrorism. It's homegrown terrorism.
Girl.
You know, you're given a picture of what they're given a picture of a black brown person, and we're automatically completely guilty, no matter what.
And you know what a big part of that has to do with?
Mm.
Let's say it together, kids.
Yes.
Implicit bias.
Yes.
We'll get to that
bias.
definition later on in today's show.
Yeah. Yeah. You can use it in a sentence.
Use it in a sentence, darling. Oh, but there's more tea before that. There's more tea before we have that. So, the hashtag White Lives Matter began going viral on Twitter, which at first pissed me the fuck off. Mm-hmm. And of course I clicked into it. But what I saw was all the K-pop fans who are obsessed with Korean pop music were using that hashtag to get attention and get more get more likes on other their favorite K-pop stars pages.
That's hilarious.
Which is like genius, because like I was reading actually someone posted like that we should start doing digital protesting, which is like taking these hashtags like Blue Lives Matter, things that support like white people rule or whatever, like White Lives Matter, and attaching them to like information that can educate racist people, like so that when they look up the hashtag, all they see is like, like what happened with the black squares, because we all put Black Lives Matter. It flooded the system. We should flood the system with this other hashtag.
Girl, I'm down for a flooding. That's wild.
Speaking of flooding,
that's wild.
Another tube of tea is coming. So, do we have any Glee fans in the house? Anyone out there watch Glee? We're fans of Glee. That twisted psychedelic show that I watched once and I felt like I was on mushrooms.
Honestly, I never watched it. I know my mom did, because she was part of the Glee club when she was in school. So she thought it was like, oh, it's like a Glee,
Girl, that show
they used
was
to have
like
Glee and like
so insane. Like I one time made one of my ex-boyfriends watch it with me, and he was like,
did you want to break up? Is that what it was? Is that how you were breaking up with them?
No, because it was just so psychedelic, and he was like, holy fuck, what did I just watch? Like, this is the weirdest shit ever. So anyway, one of the stars of Glee, Lea Michele, decided to tweet her support for Black Lives Matter and George Floyd.
That shit backfired.
Which wound up biting her in the ass. When practically the entire cast of Glee...
They're like, that's a bitch, right?
They're like, excuse me, who's speaking about what?
Oh my God, that's amazing.
Girl.
That's amazing. I love it.
Hilarious.
They're like, you don't like her.
They're like, sit down. Sit down.
They're probably waiting for her to say something, right? Like,
girl,
oh my God, say something. They're like, I hate you.
Well, they read her and they were saying how awful she's been to everyone with her microaggressions, which, if you don't know what microaggressions are, they're also considered a type of implicit bias. Take a drink, y'all. Implicit bias.
Implicit bias.
Implicit bias. Learn it. Educate yourself. What does it mean? We'll find out at the end of this show.
Oh, got it. You know what? To be honest, gosh, I feel like I could give you 25 incidences of implicit bias.
Girl, yeah. Well, we're gonna get there. So she tweeted. When she tweeted her post, the actress that worked with her, girl, she was not having it.
She's like, give me a second. Sit down.
Miss Wade was like,
down.
Remember
Wait
when?
a minute. It's like, remember when?
She was like, Miss Wade was like, remember when you made my first television gig a living hell?
Ooh, she was waiting.
Miss Wade.
She was waiting.
Because I'll never forget. She's
waiting.
She said that Leah said, I'll shit in her wig.
Ooh,
Excuse
that's
me?
nasty.
Excusez-moi? That's fighting words for me.
Girl, that's fighting words. Yeah, fuck yeah. She's nasty?
Them's fighting words.
Girl, you don't shit no one's wig. You know how expensive a wig is?
Girl, it depends what wig.
Well, if he went to Ricky's, that's a whole different story.
Girl, lace fronts
Part
all
City, that's a
day
whole other
long.
different story. But if you got that shit in a like ordered with a lace
From
front,
China?
you know that costs extra.
I know that costs extra.
That costs extra.
So she tried to apologize. She said whether it was my privileged position and perspective that caused me to be perceived. Girl, how many times? What's that word? Alliteration. My
Yawn.
privileged position and perspective, and my perception
That's 3 P's.
as insensitive or inappropriate at times, or whether it was just my immaturity and me being unnecessarily difficult. I apologize for my behavior and for any pain which I have caused. We can all grow and change, and I have definitely used these past several months to reflect on my own shortcomings.
I mean, honestly, there's nothing like a racist coworker.
Oh, we'll get to that later.
We're getting there
too.
too.
Oh my God. Well,
During these trying times,
oh my God, we've been joking that Ava was like, if I hear, what did you say? If I hear this shit one more time.
if I hear trying times
In
one
these
time, like you're
trying
trying it.
In these trying times.
Because it was about the pandemic. I was like, listen, we all know we're trying times. Like, we're all broke. We're drinking really shitty wine. Like, don't tell me.
It's like in these trying times. Well,
In these
and it's funny because they're like,
trying
in these trying times, in these difficult times, in these uneasy. I'm like, just say dark. These are dark
Yeah.
times.
These are
Just say dark.
It's crazy.
It's fucking dark.
Crazy.
It's fucking dark.
I can't.
Oh my God. Well, her apology was too little, too late because she had an endorsement with HelloFresh.
Ooh, they chopped her, no?
Oh, they chopped her.
She was like, I don't want you cooking.
HelloFresh what?
Wait, so isn't that a food service? Like you get like fresh
Yeah, I guess it's one of these like,
whatever?
they prepackaged food for you and like send
get
you
some kale and some quinoa, figure out life.
like white women, people want to have it done for them.
Well, now she has to cook it. She's gonna be like, okay, fine, I'll come over and I'll make it because I really need this. She probably needs the cash because she always has an album that nobody buys.
She does albums?
Exactly. You just point.
Well, HelloFresh said they made a
HelloFresh. Hey, girl.
That's the name of her next single, HelloFresh.
Fresh.
Hey, Fresh. So they said they do not condone racism nor discrimination of any kind.
Or bitches.
Girl, she got chopped, honey.
Guys, so
Chopped.
the last
Pregnant, no?
Chopped.
She
Chopped.
needs a HelloFresh money.
Girl, I cannot.
Unless Glee's on syndication.
Girl, what show was she? She was on American Horror Story.
Oh, she was?
Wasn't she?
I don't like her on American Horror Story. I don't know. I've only seen her one. I mean,
She
I
was
don't
on.
follow her.
No, she was
I only know that
on.
Wait, what?
She was on Scream Queens. Remember Scream Queens?
Yes. That was fun.
Girl, that was the best show. But season 2 sucked balls.
Well, sometimes a good season 1 really crushes everybody. Sometimes people need to stop, like first albums or second seasons.
This is true. Well,
Right.
oops.
Oh,
Oops.
hey.
Sorry, some technical difficulties. So let's get into colorism.
Girl.
I've been dying to speak about motherfucking colorism.
Girl, guess what? That's coloring outside the lines.
What is your definition of colorism, girl?
Bitches that think they're better than me because they think they're better than they're within their race because of, for me, experience wise, because they're lighter than me. Off as a white woman or white man, and they look down upon me because I'm a brown.
guys.
I'm a very brown person with. I'm either from New York or from the Bronx or from like Puerto Rican, whatever, and they look upon me because I am part of the same race or within Latin that is just browner and not from the same
What's up, guys?
hillside.
Right.
That's how I've experienced it. Like
This is
basically,
true.
bitches I think are better than me because they're skin
Oh,
it.
wait. What was that?
Oh.
Was that? I am having technical difficulties. Oh,
Oh,
wait. What is that?
some shit in my head.
Oh, is that a bird?
Oh, it's a motherfucking plane, bitch.
No. It's Lana.
That bitch has been on.
Oh, girl. Oh!
Is she canceled? Is she canceled?
It's a Lana alert. That was our new Lana alert system. Sorry, guys. That was. I
I thought it was technical.
thought it was technical difficulty. It was just Lana trying to communicate to us from the Hollywood sign. All right. Well, sorry for the interruption, but so Lana, here we go. Are you ready for this shit, bitch?
Girl, I've been waiting all week. Now I can finally say it's Thursday because I said that on Tuesday and I was like, girl, this week is crazy. And everyone's like, it's fucking Tuesday. I'm like, fuck.
Girl. So Lana Del Rey recently took to the streets to join protesters to support the movement, which you respect, she should be doing. Get out there. But she then posted photos and videos of the protests in Los Angeles and the riots in Los Angeles without blurring anyone's faces.
Oh.
Which could incriminate the protesters. As activists have been telling people, you know, they've been imploring participants to like not, if you post people, make sure faces are not showing, blur faces. Yeah. Especially someone like Lana, who has like millions of followers.
Yeah, she's gonna keep it cute, girl. Listen, you can't give more fuel for the. I mean, didn't she just fuck a cop? Didn't she?
Hello.
Like,
This is what you
what?
see. I was afraid. I was not afraid. Sorry, upset. I was wounded when
she let a cop jizz in her puss. Sorry, that's
I mean, I'm sure he came up in her tits. Definitely, girl. I'm sure cops like Pepsi Cola, you know,
Girl,
and
honestly,
donuts.
I guess if she got anything from it, I hope she got one of those little cards where you could park anywhere.
Oh, the ones that when you get pulled over, you can be like, "Oh, I'm friends with the cop."
I'm a friend.
Like I boned a cop.
Yeah.
Girl. Only my rich white friends have that. Only I know people that have that, and it's only rich white dudes that have that shit. Just saying.
Or like ex-girlfriends and never give it back.
This is true. So anyway, she posted that on her Instagram, and then Kalani wrote on Twitter, "Please remove your Instagram post. It's dangerous as fuck and a very poor choice of moments to post. By all means protest, but do not endanger people with your massive platform. Oh, and turn your fucking comments on, man."
Ooh.
Oof. Those are fighting words to me.
You know me. I love a little music versus music moment.
You like beef with your broccoli.
Girl.
Well, Tina Shey also, you know, Tina Shey, she also called out Del Rey, writing on her Twitter. She said, "Why the fuck?"
Everyone's waiting for her to do something right now.
Girl, they were like on edge from her because, you know, she snapped before.
Yep.
We covered that already.
Yep.
So Tina Shey wrote, "Why the fuck are you posting people looting stores on your page? Literally, what is your fucking problem?"
Yep.
Justine Skye, girl, all the R&B girls came for her.
They were waiting in the
They were
wings.
like, "Does she want to shout out all the R&B chicks, honey? You didn't add me to your Instagram post." So Justine Skye said, "We don't need your weak."
Famous.
She said, "We don't need your weak ass documentation. If you were about peace, you would have encouraged those white kids causing destruction just for their selfish entertainment to stop, making actual protesters look bad. That's how you help in those situations."
Ooh.
Lana then removed the post.
Yeah, she had to.
She was like, "Oh, here we
And
go."
waiting for you to say, and then Tori Amos came out, and then she said,
I wish. That would have been epic.
That would have been so cool.
And then Alanis
then
Morissette.
PJ
All right. Well, thank you for the Lana alert. Thank you to the
Yes.
the Lana alert system. Thank you for our new alert system. I'll be more aware of the sounds next time. So let's get back to colorism. Colorism is defined as a practice of discrimination by which those lighter skinned are treated more favorably than those with darker skin.
Yep. Yeah.
To start
I've
off,
dealt with that with so much.
oh girl.
Girl, so much.
Well, this for me, it runs rampant in Latin communities. Like even like within our own communities, within my own family, like I see like just
Oh, for sure.
like
No question.
little microaggressions or like
Oh,
implicit bias.
implicit bias. Yeah, it's 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, to start off, I want to just sip on a little more tea because there's some tea that relates to what's been going on. So the word Dominican started trending on Twitter
Yep.
after videos surfaced of Dominicans in Dykeman harassing Black protesters. I mean, by the way, I don't know how they just understood that they were all Dominicans, but whatever. I'm sure there were some Puerto Ricans up in there. I'm sure there was some other things up there.
The thing is, Dykeman is mainly Dominican. That's probably why they just assumed. Yep, Dykeman, that whole area is mostly very Dominican.
All right, so Dominicans in Dykeman
Yeah.
were harassing Black protesters.
Yeah.
The men were yelling for the men to leave. They were saying, get the fuck out of our neighborhood. They were saying, you better get that shit out of here, using the N-word.
Wow. Yeah. I don't. That makes me crazy.
Girl, and also I heard in Chicago, the Latin Kings, which is predominantly Puerto Rican, were protecting Latin neighborhoods too, allegedly protecting against Black people coming to their communities. I guess they were like protecting their businesses. They were I guess there was looting going on, but then it's just like what are you doing? Like you should be with the people because you're Black.
Yeah, dude. What the fuck?
Like
no one likes us
this
either.
Is what
like,
I
what the
don't
fuck
understand.
Are you going through? Like, I mean, honestly, it's just like it's always the war of who has been through it. Like it's either Jewish community versus the Black community, the Black community versus the brown community. Is everyone's in a pissing contest of everything, and what we just need to do is just be together. It's like no one likes us. Like
right, but
no
I think Latin people need to come to terms with their Blackness.
Oh, of course,
because we've been taught that is something outside of us, but it's like
it's in the blood.
Girl, okay, right. So some people were tweeting actually positive things, and they were showing their Black pride. So one person said, "Look at my family, we're Black. Puerto Ricans, por favor." This is a Dominican person. Please understand the difference between race and ethnicity. Dios mío.
Right.
So we're going to do another episode on race versus ethnicity. But it's a really complicated topic, especially for like Puerto Ricans, because we have a very problematic history when it comes to that topic. Like,
yeah.
Like even like signing the census.
We don't even have a box.
Like a lot of Latin people check white.
Yeah, I honestly, I just put it blank because there's nothing. I say, oh, then I'm like, all right, Latin, and then that doesn't come up. I'm like,
no.
I'm like, all right, Spanish?
Because that's why race is
I keep on like the other day when I was at the doctor, they like asked me for an ethnicity, and I had to skip because I did 20 things in it. I couldn't sign in.
Right, because well, now the Latin people are being encouraged to choose Black because it affects how laws are passed. It affects how money is distributed to communities. It affects everything. So like we all have Blackness in us, like as Latin people. It like, for your information, Dominican community literally has Black roots. Dominican Republic is the only country in Latin America that got its freedom, not from Spain, but from Haiti.
Yes.
Girl, from a Black country. But the presidents that were reigning in Dominican Republic began to instigate a sense of that they were teaching people that anything Haitian was bad, Black is bad. But they were,
which is crazy to me. It's crazy.
It's just like associating.
It's part of your, like, it's in your blood. Why deny that? And why not, like first of all,
Because it's
as far
taught.
as health wise, you should always know where your bloodline is. I'm trying to do that myself as we grow older as women. I want to know what the fuck I have myself up against. I'm going to do that fucking 23andMe so I know, like, about my bloodline. And you know it's a poo-poo platter, bitch. Puerto Rico's a fucking port. A port.
Girl, a port
Hello?
is like an open
we
pussy.
We know that, yeah. We fucked. Everyone got fucked.
Girl.
Anyway.
And so they're saying, like,
literally.
Dominican people didn't find out they were black until they went to the U.S., which is for most Latin people. Like, even when I'm in Chile, like, I be there and they, like, call me negrita. And I'm like, okay, cute. Like, I live. They think I'm Rihanna. Fabulous. Like, thank you. But I'm like, but I know that they're saying that as if they're not. And I'm like, bitch, if you came to the United States of America, you would, like, you think you're white compared to me. But, like, if you came to the America, you would also be black. Like,
Word.
You would learn real quick that you're not a white
yeah.
woman, honey. You are othered. Like,
yeah.
But this is me speaking to, like, a brown person in Chile.
Right.
I'm like,
this is wild.
I'm like,
it's wild.
What's going on? That's a specific instance of colorism. Girl.
What I would like, I honestly, it's insane. Like, I've dealt with this since I could remember. It's in restaurants and in all sorts of situations, and I'm like, wait a minute, we're all having rice and beans here. Like, why do you hate me so much? I don't understand.
Oh, girl. It's like, and even in Puerto Rican families, like, a lot of people, because sometimes, you know, their kids we're like literally like Black, Taino, and Spanish.
Yeah.
Like, on a base level. But like, so some kids come out darker than others within the same families, and they treat the lighter skinned kids better than the darker ones.
I've seen that plenty of times.
Yeah.
I've seen that plenty of times. My God, in my family, absolutely. I feel like it's just like, because of the insane racism throughout decades, the grandmothers saw active rate, like 1960s, 1950s racism. So they wanted their kids to just block out their whole culture, and white is right. So they just kind of clear their own ethnicity to blend in. Like, they want their kids to blend in because they saw so much crazy shit. So they think like literally white is like, right.
Girl.
So they've kind of,
instead of fighting.
Yeah, like, no, they wanted them
inside
to blend. And this goes to a lot of different cultures. It's just not Latin, because I've dealt with this with my Asian friends as well. Like, just blends.
Oh yeah,
like, just blends. You know, you're like, it's insane how they've kind of
Americanized
their kids, that just not even teaching them their own, like, native languages.
Girl, I didn't learn. I had to teach myself Spanish, because my mother, bless her soul, she didn't know any better. She came to New York as a kid. Yeah. And because, you know, Puerto Rico is very different from the United States, even though we're part of it. It's like very different culture. Yeah. And so she came to America, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm assuming that she thought I needed to speak English, because that's the way to survive in this country, in this city. Right. But she didn't embrace the culture or the language and say, like, you know, I want my daughter to also speak our language. She didn't think of, like, enriching myself with a new language. She thought I need to have her speak English so she can survive. Right. And that was because that's where colorism is really comes from. The generation before us is really like where they've been trying to embed it in us, and we're like the ones that have it like halfway, and then we're like, you know, we gotta like erase it one level more.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like another topic which we always talk about is the term like good hair and bad hair.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
like there's a history of that, which is
100%. There's a movie about it. I mean, it's
Girl.
crazy. We've burnt out our roots just to blend, you know?
and that
Or
is an
to be
example of
Ah.
everyone take a drink.
Oh, take a drink.
Everyone
Hold
say
on.
it together now. Implicit bias.
Implicit bias. I mean, I'm hoping the newer like friends of newer parents that I know, they're really trying their hardest to make sure that they teach Spanish first before English. They have the time. See, unfortunately, in my for my story, my mom was a hardworking mom, so she really didn't have the time, really. She thought I was gonna just somehow pick it up in the streets. I don't know, like she's
Pick what up in the streets?
Spanish. Like
All
she's
right.
like, you should have learned it in school. And I'm like, how?
Well,
I
they
went
do
to a
teach it
PS
to us in school, but it's like
yeah, but not. I mean, girl, we're going
20
to the
minutes a day.
discotheque. Hola, Jose. ¿Dónde está meow meow? Like, it's come on, like, it's not. You know, like I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, it's completely different.
Right.
And then my dad wasn't that confident in his Spanish, so therefore he didn't want to speak it, even though he spoke it beautifully. Like he had his own shit, you know.
Well, they were also felt embarrassed by it.
Daddy did, not mom. But
And we saw this with Asian people too. That recently came up with
100%.
in like Insecure when they were like
Insecure,
speaking
and
their
he was
native
kind of hiding
language.
the fact that he was speaking his native language. And
Yeah.
I've dealt with so many Asian friends that I'm like, oh my god, you're so gorgeous. I never heard you, speak like Japanese
And
or
they're, like,
Chinese. Where
on the phone, like,
they're like whispering. I'm like, girl, teach me something. At least teach me the bad words.
language is beautiful. Like the more languages you
Language is
know, the
beautiful,
better.
exactly.
And especially when your culture is connected to the language, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, for sure.
It should always be celebrated.
Embrace.
And your hair
Future
texture.
generations, embrace, learn it.
Language, hair texture. And I want to just say, like, we're gonna have a whole
What's
episode
happening right now.
We're gonna have a whole episode about good hair and bad hair.
Girl.
But there's a reason, there's a history behind why, when we want a good blowout, where do we go?
Dominicans. Yeah.
Like, no shade. But
I
like,
mean, I don't like. There was one time in my whole existence, I went to one of these salons that are like a chain, like a Vidal Sassoon sort of place, and sorry, she was a white girl, and she was about to blow out my hair with a comb. I was like, I told her, I was like, girl, that's just gonna break.
You know what?
I'm like, no, you need a roll brush, and I hope
Girl.
you have some strength in that elbow, because we're gonna go back. We're gonna do one of these bits, you know.
It's like when you see,
That's when she came to me with a comb. I was like, that's just gonna break.
you're like, on second
I have
thought,
25 textures going on right now. Are you
girl,
kidding me?
you should have that. You know what? I blame you. That you should have known better.
No, I had an event and I was like,
No,
I gagged. I had no
no.
time to go up and down to Dominicans. It's one of them days. Sorry, I need to get my wine.
Oh, I was gonna do the same shading. She's leaving me. Well, so the hair situation is.
It's a thing.
It's literally a version of, girl, that bottle is bigger than you.
Yep. That's me about
Girl,
2 more hours. Just kidding.
So speaking of this hair conversation, it's a perfect example of, everyone say it together, say it with us.
Ready?
Implicit bias.
Yeah. Girl, there's a lot of implicit shit. So.
Implicit bias. So let's finally get to the word of the day. What does it mean? I know you're all wondering, what does it mean? What is this implicit bias you speak of? Implicit bias refers to the attitudes or stereotypes that affect our understanding, actions, and decisions in an unconscious manner. It's like a
Choosing
second.
to be stupid.
No, it's not a choice.
Oh.
It's not a choice. It's
Oh, so you just
something.
do that.
It's the way you react naturally to other people's actions, decisions. Like, basically, we're all a little racist.
Oh,
And
100%.
we need to start schooling ourselves because it's all deep seated. Like, you know, we think these biases are innocent, whether it's like making a racist joke or just like saying some sort of like stereotype, you know, like with the hair. It also goes with like age and gender and nationality and height and weight. And
really?
It's like, for instance, like
I'm a height of fucking hobbit. I know that shit.
Girl, like, okay, so Asian people.
Yes.
If you label them in your subconscious as foreign,
ooh,
then you might have trouble associating an Asian American person that speaks fluent English.
Right.
Or even being an American citizen. Like, your mind will be like, I don't know, you know what I mean? I just don't understand because my whole life I've been taught that Asian people are not from here, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's implicit bias. Or like, it's like picking up on cultural cues. Like, for instance, like if you think women are homemakers.
Oof.
You know, if you've been, all your life been taught women should be working at home, they're the homemaker. Then when you see a businesswoman, you might be like, oh, that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, you may have like,
I was just watching this on fucking that show, Miss America. Yeah,
you may have this preconceived notion of what a woman should be, and then you're like, oh, you maybe pop jokes, or you're like, girl, whatever. I don't know. You know what I mean? It just like it's embedded in our brains,
right?
That this is how a specific type of people.
So you're like kind of stereotyping a gender and a race.
Stereotyping is like a wider version of it, but it's like it's little things, even like popping jokes, like when you know you may. What do we say? Like, I don't want to say something that will offend people.
No, I mean, we could do a Puerto Rican one.
Let's do a tranny one. See?
See, there you go, you just did it.
Like, if I say, oh my God, like, you know, because we do jokes all the time. We're like, oh, girl, what does she do for work? You know what I mean? Like, please.
Yes,
it's like, oh, really? She's working. She goes to Harvard. Right, exactly. Yeah. Like, she goes to Harvard. You know, that's implicit bias because we are, and it's embedded in our brains that trans women are all sex workers.
Right. That's so untrue.
Implicit bias.
Yeah, I just keep on doing it.
That's implicit bias.
Yeah. I give a face.
Girl, implicit bias. We should do a meme with Ava's face. Implicit. She's the queen of, Ava, by the way, is the queen of implicit bias. It's the basis of her comedy
Yeah. Like, did she do it?
It's true.
Is she?
Well, you know what? There's actually a free online test to evaluate your implicit bias.
Oh, that's cute. We should do that for a Patreon.
Yeah, Ava and I are gonna do that definitely on Patreon. But I'm gonna put the website here. Hold up, ladies and gentlemen. I want to
see how racist you are. How racist are you?
Yeah, I want you to all go to www.implicit.harvard.edu
and tell me your results.
And tell us how racist you are.
Just show me your results so I stop talking to you.
Yeah, let us know before you enter the chat how racist
too many phone numbers on my phone. Just kidding.
Implicit.harvard.
Wow, these earrings are good, right?
Those are good.
Anyway, I
want to give an example of this is maybe not implicit racism. No, this is racist. One time I was going to the Studio 54 was reopening.
Ooh.
And I got a phone call from like a friend of allegedly, Honey Dijon.
Yes.
She's like, bitch, put on a dress. We're going to Studio 54. They're opening for one night only.
Ooh, put an open shoe on.
Girl,
we're doing
fabulous. This. We're meeting at Ricardo Tisci's hotel room.
Here we go.
We gather. Everyone's popping jokes. Suddenly, everyone starts doing, shady reading sessions.
Oh, my favorite. But sometimes it get dark.
We got in the elevator and whatever, honey, get it, because the girls can read, so she gave a good read. Right. And he says, "But you're black."
What?
And everyone was like, "Oh," and I'm like,
"What? That's racist.
What the fuck is going on right now?"
Where did you just wait? What's the pretense of him even going there?
It was like, when you're reading, you're like, "Oh, girl." Because Honey was like, they were talking about fashion, and Honey was like, "Oh, bitch, your last collection looked like blah blah blah." She gave him the real deal, you know. She,
I would love to be part of that conversation. Because I would kill it.
She was like, "Your last."
See, that's a read I want to be. I was like, "Well, your collection is so ugly.
Yeah.
How ugly is it?"
That's another video. We should rate people's lines. We're like, your
oh
collection's
God,
so
I
ugly.
He called. He wants his 1994 collection back. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so it was like that. Like, you know, she was like being like, your collection, blah 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 blah, because he was coming for her. Like at first, he was just like, oh girl, like blah blah.
That's hilarious.
And so she came hard. She's like, your collection sucked. Blah blah blah. It was a ripoff of blah 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 blah. I've seen it before. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, she knows her homework. She knows her homework.
Honey,
if she's gonna read, she has archives.
How dare you try to read one of the girls first of all, and then one of the girls being Honey,
and Honey, who was a fashion bitch.
Because she's a fashion bitch. She's a music bitch. She's an art bitch. You can't come for her.
But she knows her fashion homework. So do not come.
So he couldn't take it, and that was his response. That was his. I'm not gonna repeat it again, but that was his response.
Ooh,
and everyone was like, "Ooh," and I'm like,
"You call that off,
girl?" I was heated,
you
and
were
you know,
to spill this because that was good,
girl. And I was like the Brooklyn girl the one hood girl in the elevator, wanting to smack a bitch. Well, anyway, you see, I'm getting really stressed out right now.
Yeah,
I'm getting kind of annoyed, and like, what do I do when I'm annoyed? When I get really aggressive, I like to listen to some So here at Allegedly, we've started a whole new series of Allegedly NYC ASMR videos, which is going to premiere tomorrow at noon on YouTube. And we're going to drop our little commercial here. This is a little advertisement to show you what's to come.
A little sneak
Just
peek.
a little sneak peek. Hold your glasses while we give you a little spoon.
Yes.
I'm going to get some wine while this plays, darling. I love a break. Allegedly. Welcome to Allegedly NYC. This is our ASMR. Today's topic is pandemic etiquette. And let me dip. Cotton, lycra, polyester, coil. Sasson. Just like open up a condom. Bitches are nasty. Sexual. That was delicious. So that's our ASMR series. Tomorrow at noon is going to be our first episode premiering.
I love it.
I think it should be, Ava, I think it should be your episode where you make a dip.
I make a good
She makes
dip.
a Latinx dip.
The commercial's still going on. Hold on.
Oh, you're just still watching it on YouTube.
It's YouTube. That's crazy. So yes.
Go, we're back live. Are you paying attention?
We're live. I'm just looking at everyone's celebrating.
She's you loving? Okay. So listen, we're gonna premiere it, which means when we do a YouTube, we're preferring YouTube now. We're always gonna do Allegedly on YouTube, and so tomorrow we're gonna premiere the ASMR, our first ASMR video, which is Ava making a dip, on our YouTube channel. And we're going to premiere it, which means we can all chat live. We're going to be online too, chatting. So we can all get together and chat again in the group chat while we watch Ava's ASMR video making a Latinx dip. But before we go, I want to read a problematic text one of us recently received.
Yes, one of us. I'm like...
Ava's giving it away. I'm not naming any names. Should we say that?
No, we're not naming any names for sure.
Would we say they're a friend or a colleague or an acquaintance?
I thought it was a little bit of both, and obviously this person's gonna get canceled.
Right. Okay. Well, I want to like bring this to people's attention because I think like there's some people that want to turn to their friends of color to voice their crooked opinions, and also to ask, like, help me understand, like, what's going on. I don't understand the world because you're brown and I'm not, and, like, tell me what's going on, even when they're brown.
It's not my job. Yeah.
Girl. So this
is
this is the text one of us recently received. I don't know what's all the fuss about now. So much for social distancing. Aren't people protesting all over without caring because of some guy was killed in Minneapolis? I guess it's okay to all be packed together. I'm sorry, but what's with the setting fires, robbing businesses, and assaulting innocent people, all in the name of what? This is a brown person, by the way, right?
Yeah.
She's brown. I don't care about the whole black and white thing, to be honest. I'm like Lil Wayne.
I don't even know what that means.
This text blows me away.
Girl.
If they wanted to protest...
And it was in the morning, so that ain't even fucked up.
They sent one of us this in the morning.
Yeah, sorry.
If they,
I'm like...
Fine, it was Ava. Fine. Ava received this text in the morning. We're not going to name names.
No, not the names.
Oh, I'm going to go on with the text.
Go on. We're not done.
I'm going to do my Latina colorism voice.
Yeah.
If they wanted to protest, why not do it without the robbing and burning businesses and other property? And then they wonder why they are discriminated. Well, obviously, they are not civil when they should set an example and behave civil. Girl, I'm cringing. This is cringe. If you don't know what cringe means, look up ContraPoints on YouTube.
I'll vomit in front of your face right now.
And her episode cringe.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not done.
Yeah, we're not done.
Honestly, I don't think police should use force and should be trained better. But why every time a black person gets killed, right away they portray them as a good Samaritan? That they don't kill a fly human being. If they had cops arresting them, it's obvious because they weren't in church saying a prayer. Girl.
I was so disgusted. And I had a feeling...
They texted to you.
They texted
Sorry,
to me.
jig is up.
No, but like this person obviously doesn't know me well enough to not text me something like this. But I feel like...
She shouldn't have your number, girl.
Well...
Cancel her.
Obviously, let me finish my thought.
Sorry,
but I honestly, I don't understand. First of all, I don't understand that mind frame, and I sure as hell don't understand that she knows that I am not this person that'd be like, hey, and like go along with this conversation. I shut it down immediately.
Oh no, she did it on purpose to get you.
She did it on
plucked.
purpose. She 100% did it on purpose because she knows that's not who I am.
Well, you know, because she wanted to vent, and she wanted to do it on your face.
Yeah, and she knew that she was testing.
Because she knew you wouldn't come for her because you're 90.
Oh, I know. But I did. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm like, people are dying like every fucking week. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Those bitches don't even need to be like...
But this is bitches that are, unfortunately, you know, like, it is wild to me because, like, oh, God, I want to say so much.
She's heated, honey. She's plucked.
You know what?
She's activated.
She only dates white men that belittle her and think they're better than her class-wise. So, and they keep on divorcing her, and they don't introduce her to friends or family. So
why? Why don't they don't introduce her to friends or family? Why? Because she's brown.
Because she's brown.
And
she's a brown girl that told this to me.
She's one of these girls that want to like.
She wants the white life, but
colorism.
The white life doesn't want her.
Girl.
They honestly fuck her and leave her. And I actually told her that in her face.
And she's like, I don't know what you're saying. Computer says no.
I was like, the men use you and they're done with you. Stop doing
And this is because they probably, like her parents probably, we're going to get to this too. I mean, this is the end of our show. Yeah. But in conclusion, I would like to reiterate that bitches that want to turn to their friends of color to voice their shady, crooked opinions, don't waste your time or your T-Mobile points. Yeah. And if you want us to teach you about this shit, like, it's not people of color, it's not black people's jobs to educate you on this shit. You know? But since you can't do it for yourselves, if you're listening out there, all the Karens of the world.
Yeah.
Let's sum it up for you.
Yeah.
If you refer to Black and brown neighborhoods as bad neighborhoods
Or ghetto. That's my favorite. Yeah, they say ghetto.
You're part of the problem.
Yeah.
If you refer to textured hair as bad hair,
Yeah.
and straight hair as good hair, you're part of the problem.
Mm-hmm. If you ask me stupid questions about my race, not consciously, you're part of the fucking problem. Like, you ask stupid shit.
If you have a hard time understanding people's anger after George Floyd was murdered, you're part of the problem.
You're part of the problem.
If you walk around not wearing a fucking mask during a pandemic that you know is disproportionately affecting Black and brown communities, you're part of the problem. If your parents, this goes back to this text because I think this is this bitch. If your parents, I'm not even gonna say your parents, if you're a parent, and you want your kid to marry a white person because you want their kids to have good hair, and you think that that's marrying up, you're part of the problem.
You're 100% part of the problem.
And if you have a large following on social media and you haven't once used your voice to be informative or of service, you're part of the fucking problem.
You're part of the problem.
And if you haven't taken the time to educate yourself on systemic racism, or everyone grab your drinks.
Oh, chug it.
Implicit bias.
Mm-hmm.
You're part of the fucking problem.
Can I add one more thing to that list?
Mm-hmm.
Because I've dealt with this throughout my career, and I've been reflecting a lot on bullshit lately that, you know, thank God I'm older and I've shut it down. But as younger, you're like kind of shocked and you get like dumbfounded by like stupidity. Mm-hmm. If you have a coworker that is white and they like talk about your hair or the kind of music you listen to or anything of that nature, or they make fun of the way you say certain words,
hoop earrings,
like all of it, shut it down. Because I didn't do that as when I was younger, because I couldn't grasp, because I'm a New York City kid. So right. I wasn't around a lot of white people because we've always been like a melting pot. But as I got older and working in professional environments where like these girls that came from like Ohio and shit and asking me crazy fucking questions that are insanely racist, shut that shit down. Like, I'm gonna do a mixtape today, like not knowing me, and put all this like music that would just not reflect me as a individual, like just because they think that I listen to like J-Lo and Shakira all day long for some reason. Meanwhile, like that's, you know,
that happened to us at our favorite, one of our favorite fucking restaurants. What was it? Remember the girl was like, "Oh my God, this is Shakira playing, right? You like Shakira?" And we're like, "What?" And she's like, "Do you want hot sauce on your wing?" Like, it was weird. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
She was assuming like we were ordering. Yeah, she assumed. Like, she tried to like guess what we were ordering. It was completely opposite. She's like, "Oh, you want chicken, right?" And I was like, "Actually, I ordered the shrimp." Like, it was like shit like that. It was like insane. So like, shut that shit down. Because
shut it down.
As I've gotten older, I don't accept that at all. And I call people on it, and I'm like, "What do you mean by that?" Because it's so much. You don't realize it until you get home. It's like after you've reflected on your day, I was like, "Wait a second, that was fucking racist, right? Like completely racist." And I believe you should like shut it down. Shut it down.
Everyone, it's time. Shutting it down is also educating.
If they sit next to you, because you're the only person that should be uncomfortable is them, not you.
Yeah. And that's part of educating. I think when you shut shit down and you show people that's offensive, you don't have to give them a whole speech like we are, because I mean, we are a public service. We're doing you a public service by teaching you implicit bias. But at work, in your daily life, it's not your job, but you need to stand up for yourself and say, that's not okay. That's not okay. Even if someone says something, even if it's your family, if it's your boyfriend, if it's your girlfriend, if it's your kids, you need to be like, check your damn self.
You need to check yourself.
Watch your mouth.
Watch your fucking mouth and respect my presence.
All right.
Because it is a present.
Yes. Say it again. Say it. My presence is a present. Say it again.
My presence is a present. My present is a present.
All right, y'all. That's our show. But before we go, we want to let you know that we're going to be donating this month's Patreon coins to the Transgender District, which is the first legally recognized transgender district in the world that aims to stabilize and economically empower the trans community through ownership of homes, businesses, historic and cultural sites, and safe community spaces. And it was started by Black women.
Yes.
And we suggest that you donate to your favorite organization. We've posted a list of Black-led LGBTQ plus organizations that you can donate to on our Instagram page, which is allegedly NYC. I also would suggest that you go to this, I believe this is the Instagram page for information on, it's an Instagram page called Justice for George NYC, which if you want to stay up to date on protests and community gatherings and activations, it's a great resource. They stay updated constantly. Go on to their into their stories, on their Instagram. They're constantly staying updated. If something gets canceled, they let you know right away too. It's a really good resource. And we'll be back on Monday on YouTube only. We're exclusively on YouTube now. Exclusive. So subscribe, hit the like button. Touch the bell for notifications, because when we post a new video, you'll get a notification. Tomorrow at noon, our first ASMR video is gonna premiere, so you can soothe your soul through all this madness and learn how to make a dip with Ava. And on Monday,
good luck with that.
Same time, same place, we're gonna have Chad Dampf joining us to talk about why men who prefer to date trans women are stigmatized by society.
Yes.
So if you want to
it's gonna be a good one, because that was hard to find.
It's hard. It was so difficult to find one man to speak about why he loves trans women.
One man.
Oh, we found multiple men, but not that wanted to talk on air.
That want to talk. Yeah.
So I want to give some applause to Chad Dampf for joining us.
Yes.
We're gonna get him laid, but no, he has a girlfriend, so it's off the market.
Yeah, we're not.
But he's gonna be joining us
to
be, brutally honest with us about how he's been stigmatized for his trans hammering. And
I'm excited about that.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us. Everyone be safe out there.
Please be safe. Love one another. Fight the fight. But be careful. Be careful. You're warriors, but be careful.
And stay in touch. We love to hear from you. And we'll see you on Monday at 8 p.m. Hey, same time, same place. 8 p.m. Bye, bitch. You're listening to Allegedly NYC. Allegedly.